Alright, so here we're starting to work with the Arduino Mega controller, the LCD screen and such. So right now we've got it hooked up here for the first objective. Um, we just have the screen on there. If we can get a good picture of it there. There it is. Just says ACC Mechatronics, VEX Mega Controller, and then it outputs the current analog value and button value, and if you hit the button it changes to pressed, and if you move the pot around, there it is. The pot value changes, and it just constantly updates. So basically in the code here, we just have this first section here where we're just pulling up stuff out of the library, and from what I understand, all these lines here are just necessary to make the LCD work correctly. And then now we get down in here to our regular, void setup and void loop coding. So just like we did on the other board where we have the inputs, pin modes, and things like that. And then instead of a serial begin, we have the LCD begin. So I have the backlight, and then we start actually printing the different lines, the stuff that stays on there constantly, which is the first couple of lines, and then the analog and the button value. And then down here, all it does is sets up integers for the analog value and the button value, and then we actually print the value of the potentiometer, and then down here the button, and that's a pressed or not pressed sort of thing. So now we're looking at using the Mega controller to control a servo, and you see it plugging away there and making all kinds of noise. So we're going to go ahead and shut that off now, shut off that noise. But yeah, it's just plugged in here to motor output, which one is that, 30? And we got our fancy little battery set up here. And just nice simple code. Just have the servo the motor attached there on pin 30, and then just a loop that puts it at the different angular positions with a 1 second delay in between each movement. So here we're using the VEX pot to control our servo over here. Try to get it out of the shot there. But you see, as I turn the pot back and forth, the servo follows suit. So I went ahead and left the setup in there in the code for the similar to the first objective, using the LCD to output the analog value that the pot is seeing. I just kind of did that just for the heck of it. But yeah, we got our analog input here and our motor output. And over here it's more or less the same for the most part. We have all these things in here to set up the stuff from the library, down through here. Now we attach our servo main, in this case, pin 30, the analog input for the pot, pin mode, and then same thing here with the LCD screen, and then as we go down we just read the analog value, we print the value of the analog, the pot there, excuse me, to the LCD screen, and then we just have the servo position mapped to the 0 to 1023 on the potentiometer, and 0 to 120 on the servo, because all the information that I saw online said that the range of motion on the servo, excuse me, was 120 degrees. So we have that mapped, and then we just write that value to the servo, and it does its thing. Alright, so now we've moved on to controlling the DC motor with the two push buttons. We got a forward and reverse push button here. And I press one and it goes one way, and press the other one, it goes the other way. And when you release them, it stops. So, and also here's the LCD screen, if it'll focus. There it is. So when you press that, goes forward, and that says reverse, and then stop. So the coding is a lot like what the other ones were. Again, just the same deal here up top with all this big mess of stuff up here for controlling the LCD screen and the libraries and things like that. We come down here. We have instead of a servo, it's just a motor. So, or I have it declared as just motor. We have that on pin 30 on the output, and then pins 2 and 3 are both input pull-ups for the digital push buttons. And then we come down here, same deal, setting up all the stuff that stays on the screen there. And then we just do a digital read on the forward and the reverse buttons, and of course we have our little exclamation point in there to make them a not function. So the first thing is, so we have we're using an if, and else to control the three states of the motor, which are forward, reverse, and stopped. So we just have a high, or if the forward button is high, it writes 4 to the LCD screen, and it writes 140 for full forward speed. And else if the reverse button is high, prints rev to the screen and puts it has a speed of 20, which is full reverse. And then the else condition is stopped. Neither button is pressed. And 90, which is the motor stop. Okay, so now we're looking at objective 4 here. Now, full disclosure, I have this working about 90%, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with it. But I'll still go through it and show you what's going on here. So I hit one button here, motor turns on. Hit the other one, it stops, and the screen shows the status, running, stopped, shows the speed there. But the problem that I'm having is my potentiometer sort of varies the speed. It doesn't work real time. So if I turn it on and move the pod around, it doesn't change at all. But if I stop it and restart it, well, I guess there it's reading 0. But stop it again, turn it up here, and it's going real slow there. I can't seem to figure out what exactly is going on, but I'll step you through the code here too. So same thing as before, all this fun stuff up here. We come down here, just like every time, we have a input pull up on our push buttons here to make them work right. Analog input on pin 0. Same stuff with the LCD screen. And then so down here in the loop here, have our integers, digital reads on the push button, servo motor output,
analog read, and then I have the analog value mapped to the motor output. So in this case, there's the motor output. A speed of 90 is full stop. Speed of 140 is full forward. So I have it mapped from 0 to 1023 on the analog input, and the 90 to 140 on the motor output. So then down here, I just have these two if statements. Basically, if the start button is pressed, it will print running to the LCD screen on the motor status or conveyor status part, and then it'll print the servo, the speed, or the motor speed to the screen, and then it'll write the speed to the motor, make the motor go. And then the same thing for the stop button, except I have a hard integer of 90, so when I press the stop button, the motor comes to a stop. Like I said, I can't quite figure out why the potentiometer isn't really working right, and maybe this will provide some insight as to what exactly I did wrong.